Hello, and welcome to Montgomery Arts Infusion. I'm your host, Michael Bobbitt, and I'm also the Artistic Director of Adventure Theater. MAI is coming to you today from the imaginary village of Wieseldorf on the set of The Reluctant Dragon, a stage play at Gaithersburg's Arts Barn. This very shiny and pointy sword is meant to slay this dragon. In the play, a little girl befriends a gentle, poetry-loving dragon, and because the adults in Wieseldorf are afraid of dragons, they hire Sir Wombat to get rid of him. But despite Sir Wombat and the sword, the little girl somehow saves the day. Creative people often see art where others do not. Later in the show, we'll introduce you to a local society of Woodturners. They are Montgomery County men and women who see the beauty in chunks of wood and who use machine tools to turn them into art. MAI takes you to the studio of a local artist for a behind-the-scenes look at the process of creating an indirect oil painting. We'll see how this artist has captured a scene on canvas that has literally changed her life, and much more. Snapping photos with a smartphone may be the best way for some of us to capture the images we hold dear. But we're about to meet an artist for whom photography is just the first step in a process that can take up to 9 months to complete. And in her recently completed oil painting from the 2017 DC Women's March, she shows us how using multiple layers of paint can capture the action and emotion of a single moment in history. MCM producer Carolyn Raskauskas has the report.
I started painting about 6 years ago, and I just fell in love with it. I felt such an interesting tactile connection to the oil paint. It's very buttery and sensual, and I just love the way it feels. I can mix colors for hours. It just felt so nice. I really love indirect painting because you can build up the painting in layers. It's almost like writing a book where you would have an outline and then you start working on a first draft. And that allows you to build the two-dimensionality of the forms. Was mostly working on still lifes last year. A lot of really fun ones with candies and honey lemon tea and other things, but the world changed. On January 21st, millions of people went out to march in support of the Women's March. So inspired by that day, so full of so many emotions. One of the reasons I was marching was that I had been assaulted in my life, and I was one of the Me Too, I guess you could call it. I think a lot of women were probably out there with a similar Me Too feeling, and that solidarity really gave me strength. And then I felt like I just needed to start to paint that and go inside and reflect on those feelings. In the last brush strokes, I just started crying because I started crying. I was so emotional. I was so happy to have contributed this, I felt, in some ways, this historical painting with so much feeling. All of that brought a lot of healing. I felt really empowered, to be honest. And I think painting through layers really brings you to that because you don't just stop with the first or second rounds. You're trying so hard to find a deeper understanding and a deeper interpretation of the scene. After I finished the painting, I felt kind of lost for a couple months. It had been my compass for 9 months. And then it was done, and sort of like after the march, what's next? I'm still sort of figuring that out, the what's next.
Kathy started painting by taking classes at Glen Echo's Yellow Barn in 2012. Now, just a few years later, she's an artist in residence at Artists and Makers in Rockville. We look forward to seeing where her inner compass takes her next. Thanks, Carolyn. As we mentioned, we're taping this episode of MAI on the set of The Reluctant Dragon, on stage at the Arts Barn. The 99-seat theater here is the location for comedies, magic shows, concerts, musicals, and plays for children and adults. The building is a renovated stable that stands on what was once the 600-acre Shefali estate. Now known as Arts on the Green, the complex also houses the Kentlands Mansion and remaining grounds. Here, you'll find a rental venue, the theater, rotating exhibits, artist-in-residence studios, visual and performing arts classes, and a gift shop. Anyone with a passion for turning wood knows how to spot beauty in a timber that others might discard. For 12 years, the Montgomery County Woodturners Association has provided a local gathering place for woodworking novices, hobbyists, and professionals. More recently, the association became home base for a recipient of the County Executive's Lifetime Impact Award. MCM's Phyllis Armstrong reports.
I've done woodwork ever since I was a kid.
A piece of wood turns into art in the hands of Phil Brown.
You see something or you have an idea and you try to create it, bring it out. It's quite satisfying to see it turn out well.
Brown's ability to see the beauty in an interesting piece of wood began with skills he taught himself.
I bought a used lathe and found a book on how to turn and started learning. Then the skills were enhanced through participation in workshops and classes.
And after 43 years of shaving and shaping wood on a lathe, Brown is a master who teaches others to turn wood, including Ellen Davis.
I happen to love the ability to take something that is here, is natural, and allow it to talk to me.
The idea of wood turning began talking to Ellen Davis almost 5 years ago.
It's the smell, it's the touch, it's what it looks like, the process, what you hear.
Davis is president of the Montgomery County Woodturners Association, started by Brown. She and other members meet at the Woodworkers Club in Rockville, where they taught her how to turn what she calls a magnificent medium.
And I wouldn't have gotten as far without their assistance, without their gentle, aggressive pushing. Look at that. Look how it shines. It's amazing.
The artistry of County Woodturners is now on exhibit at Black Rock Center for the Arts in Germantown.
Some of the work is just breathtaking, just absolutely breathtaking.
The handcrafted works of 53 contemporary artists and artisans from 3 states are featured at the exhibition. Some are hobbyists, while others, such as Brown, make a living from turned wood on display at museums and in private collections. Davis considers turners to be her heroes. Together, she and Brown hope through their club they can pass on a craft that takes thought, heart, and love.
And people come together to learn, but to share and to enjoy each other.
It's just a fantastic way to take whatever is creative inside of you, or to find that creativity and utilize what this world has offered us.
Phyllis Armstrong in Rockville for Montgomery Arts Infusion.
That's it for this edition of Montgomery Arts Infusion. We hope you enjoyed the stories and information about arts and artists in our county. There's so much more to explore. Be sure not to miss it. For information about the artists in this show, check us out at mymcmedia.org. Until next time, be well and be creative.